What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, October 20th, 2024, and I have an emergency update to share with you guys. Right now it is 11:41 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. What you're looking at here is some new video footage coming out of South Korea, showing a massive amount of South Korean combat helicopters heading towards the border with North Korea, the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. And this comes after North Korea put as much as 700 of their long-range artillery pieces on full combat alert. We know that all of these artillery pieces can reach Seoul, the capital of South Korea. So the leader of North Korea putting 700 pieces of long-range artillery on full combat alert. South Korea has now put their military on full combat alert. So very tense situation in the Korean Peninsula. Also, North Korea detonated several road and railway connections, destroyed them completely between the south and the north. So we have to keep an eye on the Korean Peninsula. That's the wild card. I've been talking about that for the last 2 years. I told you guys that the Korean Peninsula is the wild card, and Putin is going to use the Korean Peninsula to open up another front for the US and NATO. And there was an attempted assassination of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. Hezbollah launched a drone at one of Netanyahu's homes. Apparently the drone crashed into the home and nothing happened to Netanyahu. Netanyahu released a statement yesterday stating, quote, "The attempt by Iran's proxy Hezbollah to assassinate me and my wife today was a grave mistake." So huge news, guys. Okay, Hezbollah launching a drone at Netanyahu's home, and now Netanyahu is furious. And the Jerusalem Post, quoting a diplomatic source, stated that Israel plans to respond to the attempt to assassinate Netanyahu and considers Iran as being the one responsible for this attempted assassination. So this is another excuse for Israel to try to strike Iran's nuclear facilities. And we have some very concerning news coming out of the U.S. Apparently, some classified intelligence documents detailing Israel's alleged preparations for a potential attack on Iran have surfaced online amid speculations of an attack in response to the October 1st ballistic missile strike against Israel. The documents dated October 15th and 16th began circulating Friday after being shared on Telegram by the account Middle East Spectator. The leaks reportedly came from a source within the U.S. intelligence community. One of the documents, reportedly compiled by the Defense Department's National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, indicates that Israel's plans involve relocating munitions. So the NGIA, if you guys don't know, is responsible for our satellites. Okay, they use our satellites for surveillance. So let me just read to you some more about this leak. And I actually have these documents here. They're publicly available now, but here you can see top secret, and they're talking about some kind of a large force employment exercise on October 15th through 16th. Okay, so that was just a few days ago. It says here the Israeli Air Force continued air-launched ballistic missile handling, covert UAV operations, and conducted a second large force employment exercise from the 15th through 16th of October, according to imagery analysis. The Israeli Air Force has handled at least 16 Golden Horizon air-launched ballistic missiles and at least 40 ISO-2 rockets since October the 8th, according to imagery analysis. So very interesting here. The Israeli Air Force continued ALBM, that's air-launched ballistic missile handling, at the Hatzarim airfield on October 15th. The Israeli Air Force placed concealment screens over 6 F-15 hardened aircraft shelter entrances on an alert apron on October 16th. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you have to use the link preparewith NYPrepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. And this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life with over 2,000 calories per day, all packed inside of 6 rugged water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. The normal price is $800. If you use the link, you'll only pay $600 for 3 months of food with free shipping. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video, which indicated that ALBM handling occurred in the hardened aircraft shelter entrances. So very interesting. They were placing concealment screens over 6 F-15I hardened aircraft shelter entrances, and they were loading air-launched ballistic missiles onto these F-15s. Okay, the F-15Is are long-range strike fighters. They can also carry nuclear weapons. Okay, we cannot differentiate if this activity is related to the IS-02 rocks or Golden Horizon ALBMs. However, 3 possible Golden Horizon ALBM associated dollies arrived in a separate hardened aircraft shelter adjacent to the F-15I alert hardened aircraft shelter complex. We did not observe increased personnel at the ALBM handling area at Hatzarim airfield on October 16th. The Israeli Air Force likely handled air-to-surface missiles at Ramat David Airfield and Ramon Airfield from the 15th through the 16th of October. The Israeli Air Force handled 1 probable unidentified air-to-surface missile at Ramat David Airfield on the 15th of October. 1 unidentified air-to-surface missile was in front of hardened aircraft bunker typically associated with precision-guided munitions generation. At Ramon Airfield, 1 munitions cart, probably outfitted with missile handling equipment, arrived within the ALBM area on October 16th. So very, very interesting. And also, I want to show you guys something else that was very interesting. So here we have another one of these top secret documents that was leaked out. And you can actually see they have this checklist here. And all these line items with the dark circle means that an indicator was observed. So there was an indicator of long-range air-launched ballistic missile handling. And then here you can see precision-guided munitions handling, the ROCKS ALBM handling, elevated missile and air defenses, intercept or resupply, change in IDF posture related to Iranian proxies in northern Israel, Navy defensive dispersal has occurred. And they're also showing that nuclear or missile dispersal has occurred. So this is very concerning. It means that Israel has put their nuclear arsenal on alert. There's indicators observed of nuclear or missile dispersal. Okay, you don't disperse your missiles or nuclear weapons unless you're expecting an escalation. That's a defensive move. Okay, you disperse your mobile nuclear missiles so they don't get hit in their parking garages. Okay. And also covert drone flight operations were observed and aircraft defensive dispersal. So dispersing their fighter jets and various aircraft so they don't get hit in a retaliatory strike. Let me just read to you some more interesting stuff here. It says here, the Israeli Defense Forces continued key munitions preparations and covert drone activity on the 16th of October, almost certainly for a strike on Iran. We cannot definitively predict the scale and scope of a strike on Iran, and such a strike can occur with no further geo-intelligence warning. The Israeli Air Force continued long-range air-launched ballistic missile handling on October 16th. We already read about that. All Israeli mid- and upper-tier air defense systems remained deployed. So they're on a full defensive posture with their air defenses. The Israeli Navy continued to disperse from Haifa, and the Israeli Air Force continued to partially disperse aircraft at Avda airfield. Okay, so they're moving their ships out of port, their warships, and they're moving their fighter jets from airfields so they don't get hit in any Iranian retaliatory strike. The Israeli Air Force continued covert drone operations on the 16th of October. Israel's covert drones enable long-range covert surveillance in Iran and throughout the region. So they're probably flying these drones in Iran, trying to pick out targets and get accurate, up-to-date intelligence for this strike. And it says here, we did not observe any Jericho 2 medium-range ballistic missile activity on October 16th. Israel likely dispersed medium-range ballistic missiles on October the 1st, and we lack indications that the dispersal has concluded. Medium-range ballistic missile dispersal is almost certainly defensive. We have not observed indications that Israel intends to use a nuclear weapon. So they're saying that Israel has already dispersed their Jericho 2 missiles. If you're not aware of what the Jericho missiles are, Israel has 4 variants of the Jericho missile. The Jericho 1, which was like their first ballistic missile that was developed in the 60s with the Dassault Corporation in France. So France actually helped Israel develop their first ballistic missiles and their first nuclear warheads. And that was basically similar to like a Scud missile or an Iskander, had a range of like 300 miles. Then later on in the 70s and 80s, they developed the Jericho 2, which could go up to 1,000 miles. Then they developed the Jericho 3. In the late 80s, they finally deployed the Jericho 3, which was their first ICBM, which has a range of up to 6,000 miles. Basically, Israel can reach anywhere in the world with the Jericho 3. And then they developed the Jericho 4, which many intelligence analysts believe was deployed in like 2010, and that's an upgraded version of Jericho 3. It basically extended the range even further than the Jericho 3 can, okay? And it basically just improved upon the Jericho 3, which was already able to reach anywhere in the world. But this is very, very concerning, guys. Somebody in the U.S. intelligence community is leaking these documents out, and there could be more of these, okay? This could spoil Israel's secret strike on Iran, which I believe the U.S. is going to be involved with. And I told you guys in prior updates that they're planning to do this before the election, okay? Before November the 5th, Israel's going to conduct this strike. And remember, just a few days ago, the U.S. used B-2 stealth bombers to strike the Houthis in Yemen. That was clearly a warning to Iran, showing Iran that the U.S. has the capability to conduct massive strikes with stealth bombers and that they can penetrate bunkers, okay? So I think the B-2s are going to be involved. We'll have to wait and see, but very concerning information. And a Libyan man was arrested in Germany on suspicion of planning an attack on the Israeli embassy there. And China's President Xi Jinping has reportedly ordered the Chinese military to, quote, prepare for war during a visit to the PLA rocket force, the elite unit overseeing China's nuclear and conventional missiles. Xi Jinping gave a commanding speech demanding they, quote, enhance their strategic deterrent and ensure combat readiness at all times. The PLA rocket force controls nuclear missiles and long-range missile capabilities crucial for any conflict, including a potential invasion of Taiwan. Wow, very, very concerning, guys. Look at all these troops. China is not messing around. They're building up their military while we're shrinking our military, and we're more concerned about making sure that transgenders feel comfortable in the military rather than building up our capabilities. And Russian officials are saying that Ukraine launched a series of drones last night towards Moscow. And also Ukrainian drone strikes were reported in numerous cities and regions across Russia last night, including Lipetsk, Tula, Ryazan, Oryol, Ivanovo, and Kursk and Kaluga regions. And Belarusian soldiers are reportedly going to Russia for training in one of the combat training centers the Ministry of Defense of Belarus announced. So Belarusian soldiers going to Russia to train. France will provide Mirage 2000 fighter jets to Ukraine at the beginning of next year and will train Ukrainian pilots. Now, what's interesting about the Mirage 2000 fighter jets is that they are nuclear capable, and they're currently used by France for the purposes of delivering nuclear weapons, okay? So that's very concerning. And we know that France is already producing drones for Ukraine that Ukraine is now using against Russia. So that is very, very concerning. And reports that a military base housing North Korean soldiers and engineers was hit by a Ukrainian drone in the Oryol region of Russia. So very concerning. We heard just 2 days ago that North Korea was sending over 10,000 troops to Russia. That is very, very concerning. And Finland is set to place a key NATO base in Mikkeli, which is less than 150 miles from the Russian border. Defense Minister of Finland, Antti Hakanen, says the move will send a direct message to Moscow. And we had a lot of nuclear war radars active yesterday. You could hear them on the high-frequency bands on amateur radio. And here's one of those nuclear war radars. These are long-range radars used by Russia and other countries to detect the launch of ICBMs. So there's one, and then here was another one. So nuclear forces around the world are on high alert. Multiple countries are preparing for war. We have North Korea and South Korea, China and Taiwan, Ukraine and NATO versus Russia, Israel versus Iran. Guys, we are about to head into World War III. Make sure you're prepared. We have 2 tropical disturbances right now in the Caribbean area. We have the remnants of Tropical Storm Nadine over southern Mexico. And then we have Hurricane Oscar affecting Cuba. None of these storms are expected to strengthen into anything serious. But that's the latest breaking news that I have, guys. This leak coming out of the U.S. intelligence community about Israel's attack on Iran is very, very concerning. Please make sure you guys are getting prepared. Make sure you have a fallout shelter. Make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan, a bug-out plan, a bug-out bag. Make sure you're getting right with God. That's the most important prep. And I might be back later on tonight with another update. If not, check out my 24/7 live stream. And if anything happens in Israel, I will go live and update you guys live. Also, follow me on Telegram and Twitter. I post some extra content there. And the links to my Telegram and Twitter are in the description below this video. I also post all of my updates to Telegram and Twitter. So if you follow me on those platforms, you'll never miss an update or a live stream. Sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications, so don't rely on them. Anytime I go live, anytime I post an update, I always post that to my Telegram and Twitter. So until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.